Hello there, and welcome to Fear Street. Here is another scary story narrated by yours truly. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing, as it would mean a lot and it would help this channel grow. Without further ado, let's get into this scary story. I didn't plan to be in the woods that late. It was early fall, just after sunset, when the air gets that sharp chill, but the ground still smells like warm pine and dirt. I had gone out for a walk on the trail I had taken dozens of times before. It was a simple loop through a patch of forest, about a mile behind my neighborhood. Nothing remote, nothing scary, just a regular trek. Families walked their dogs there during the day, but that evening I lost track of time. I was just so stuck in enjoying the nature. By the time I realized how dark it had gotten, the trail was already swallowed by shadows. The last bit of orange sunlight had faded behind the trees, and the woods had that heavy silence they get at night. I guess it's just those walkers that know what I'm talking about. Where every little sound seemed louder than it should be. I checked my phone. It read 7:41 p.m. It was getting very dark outside. It was not super late, but the tree cover made it feel like midnight. I turned around to head back toward the parking lot. That's when I saw a shadow, and when I heard the first sound, a branch snapping, not too far from me. At first, I didn't think much of it. There were deer everywhere in the woods, and I startled them before I kept walking. A few seconds later, I heard it again, crunch, then footsteps, slow and rhythmic, matched my pace. I stopped walking. The woods went completely quiet. This was not normal. No movement, no birds, nothing. Dread started to crawl up my ears and down my spine. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds, listening, trying to convince myself I was just being paranoid. Then I started walking again. 3 steps, crunch. 3 steps behind me. My stomach dropped. Someone was definitely back there. I turned around quickly, expecting to see another hiker or someone walking their dog, but the trail behind me was completely empty. Just a narrow dirt path disappearing into darkness. I thought to myself, am I going nuts? I stared for a moment, feeling that weird prickle on the back of my neck. The kind you get where your brain is trying to tell you something isn't right. Hello? Someone called out. No answer. I gave them no answer. Just wind moving through trees. At this point, I definitely thought I was hearing voices. I almost laughed it off. Almost. Then I started walking again. This time, I walked faster, and whoever was behind me walked faster too. The footsteps were clearer now, heavy, deliberate, definitely human. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I spun around again. Nothing. But now, I noticed something that made my chest tighten. The bushes beside the trail were moving, not from the wind, from someone walking through them, keeping pace with me. Hidden just a few feet off the path. My heart started pounding. I stopped again. The movement in the bushes stopped instantly. Whoever it was, they didn't want me to be seeing them. I pulled my phone out and turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness and swept across the trees. "Hey," I shouted. "Who's there?" For a second, nothing happened. Then, about 20 feet off the trail, I saw something shift behind a tree. A person. A man. He stepped halfway into the light just for a moment. Long, dark hoodie he was wearing. Hat pulled low. And he was just staring at me, not saying anything, not moving. He was just watching me. The second the flashlight hit his face, he stepped back behind the tree. Every instinct in my body started screaming, "Run!" But I forced myself not to. Running into the woods in the dark was not a great idea. It was a great way to trip and fall. and I suddenly had the terrifying feeling that if I fell, that guy would be on me instantly. So I walked, fast, trying to stay calm, trying to pretend I wasn't panicking. The parking lot was maybe 10 minutes away by walk. Behind me, the footsteps returned. This time, they weren't trying to hide. They were on the trail now, following me. I glanced back. The man was there, about 40 feet behind me, walking, head slightly down, hands in his hoodie pockets, not saying a word. I pulled my phone up and pretended to call someone. "Hey," I shouted loudly, hoping my voice didn't shake. "Yeah, I'm almost at the parking lot. You're still there, right?" The man slowed slightly, but he didn't stop. My chest felt like it was going to explode. The trail curved ahead, and through the trees I could finally see the faint glow of the parking lot lights. Maybe 100 yards away, I started walking faster. The man behind me did the exact same. Then suddenly, he started jogging. The sound of his footsteps closing the distance snapped something in my brain. I just ran. I ran for all that I could. Branches whipped my arms as I sprinted down the trail. My shoes slipped on loose dirt, but adrenaline kept me moving. Behind me, I could hear him running too, heavy, fast, and closer. I burst out of the trees into the parking lot lights. 2 cars were still there. One had people inside. I ran straight towards them, waving my arms. "Help! Someone's following me!" The car doors flew open. 2 guys jumped out, looking confused. I turned back toward the trail entrance. The man was standing just inside the tree line, half in shadow, watching. The moment he saw the other people, he turned around and disappeared into the woods. Just like that, gone. The police came about 15 minutes later and searched the area with flashlights. Needless to say, they didn't find anyone. No footprints, they said. Typical police. No sign he'd ever been there. But one of the officers said something that still sticks with me to this very day. He asked if the man ever spoke. I said no. The officer nodded slowly. Then he said, "That's usually how they do it." I don't walk that trail anymore, and sometimes I still wonder what would have happened in the parking lot if it had been empty that night. Thanks again for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Thank you so much.